today I thought I would just come in really quickly and cover the basics about neckwear. I'm not gonna do a whole long tie tutorial thing because there are other channels that specifically go into all the different sorts of tie knots that you can do, and they're very good. So what I'm going to do with this one is show you how I tie the neckwear that I use every day. So we're going to be looking at a regular tie, we're going to be looking at a bow tie, and then finally we're going to be looking at one of my favorite pieces of neckwear that doesn't get talked about often enough, the Ascot. So the knot that I typically use for a regular tie is called the full Windsor. I think that the full Windsor is just a little bit more symmetrical than the half Windsor. The full Windsor works better with the length of the tie for my body. It sits better where I want it to sit, and I like the larger knot on my frame better. So that is why I do it. I'm going to start by popping the collar and buttoning this up to the top. I'm going to have this, you're going to be mostly using the bigger side of the tie when you do this. So you want this to be pretty well where it is going to sit when it is on. You want the short side to sort of do that. We're going to go around and up through. Now, a lot of folks will stop here. They'll just wrap around the whole thing and come through and do the half Windsor. But this is a full Windsor. So we're going to wrap it around both sides. Up through, around the back, go around the other side, so it looks like this. You see this sort of deal here, and then wrap the whole thing around like this, come up and through, and then you can put the head through here, and then you just pull it up to the top. Now, I like my tie to sit right on the belt line, and I wear my waistline a little bit higher than some folks, so using a bigger knot that shortens the tie kinda works well for me. Then we can fold this back over and adjust as we need, and then don't forget the tie bar. Not everybody likes to use the tie bar, that's okay, but I don't like my tie to move ever. If we put it too high, it's still gonna flap around and it's not going to serve its purpose. If we put it too low, it's going to get stuck and it's going to make you uncomfortable. So what I do is I put mine right at about pec level. If your shirt has a pocket, you want it to be about halfway down the pocket like this. And that's how I tie a regular tie with the full Windsor. And so that's fine. Okay. The bow tie is a little bit more complex, but it's not as difficult as it seems. The first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that the bow tie is adjusted to your neck size. So we're going to pull this out like this and put this in the appropriate spot for your neck like this. And sometimes you may have to adjust to, one side or the other to figure out what works best for your comfort level. But the general rule is you want this to be similar to your shirt neck size, whatever that is. Then we're going to take this and put it over back. We want to make sure that we don't twist it or anything. We want one side to be a little lower than the other. It doesn't matter which side you use. I usually put mine on the side of my dominant hand. So with this like this, I'm going to take the longer side, put it over the top, like so, and then once it goes over the top, I'm going to bring it up through, and I'm going to pull it tight. An important part that people often mess up when tying the bow tie is they don't keep everything tight. So when they get to the end and they're putting the finishing touches on it, it just sort of comes loose and falls apart. So you have to keep it tight the entire time. So this is the long side that I've just pulled out here. I'm going to let it take a nap on my shoulder there. I'm going to take this short side. I'm going to bring it up and fold it like so and staple it to my neck like this. And I'm going to hold on to it. Now, I bring the long side back around and it crosses like this. Then I'm going to take the short side that I stapled here and pinch it. Now you'll notice there's a fold on one side of the bow tie on the front. If you have the other fold from this on both sides, it will come loose and fall apart. You have to make sure that the fold goes on the other side when we put it through the back here. Now, there'll be a hole here for this tie to get through. The way you create that fold is you push this through the hole backwards, like so. And then, once you've got it through, you adjust it until it looks the way that you want it to look. It doesn't have to be perfect, especially if it's not a tux bow tie. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's part of the charm. So then, once you've got it, you fold the collar back and adjust, and you should be good to go. And then we'll do this, and that works. Before we get into this, I would like to thank subscriber Professor Soggy Bones 5842 for gifting me this lovely Ascot. I got to outfit their wedding party, and I'm very, very thankful and very honored for all the support in that way that I get. So this Ascot comes from them, so thank you. I'm going to have to unbutton this a good bit to get this Ascot in, but while this is it's considered to be very fancy, but it's probably the most simple out of all the ones that we're going to do. So all I really need to do here, again, we want one side longer than the other. I'm going to take that long side, bring it across, stuff it through, up top. Then this needs to be adjusted at the top so it covers the whole collar when you button the shirt, and you give this back side here a yank to make it nice and tight, but you know, within reason. You don't want it to cause you discomfort. You want this kind of lower on the neck, not up here. And then we can put this inside the shirt. Now how you do after here depends on your frame and your personal aesthetic. Some people will just leave the top button undone, so it looks like this, and there's just this little tiny piece of it poking out. I prefer to let a little bit more of the Ascot show, like this, as long as it's big enough to spread it out so you don't see my skin or anything back there. But that's up to your aesthetic preferences and what feels comfortable to you. But Ascot, super fancy, but very simple. Those are the ways that I handle my neckwear. I hope that this has been informative and that you might consider using things like Ascots in the future, because I really enjoy them. You don't have to limit yourself to just ties. There's other stuff you can do, and they can really fill out and add variety to your aesthetic. Thanks very much.